Okay. Now we come to another section, which is treating the women in Islam and the prohibition of forcing women to take money from them without their will, and forcing the woman not to marry someone even though qualified, or to take something from the mahr by force, and you have to live with the women with kindness. So all of these ahkam in verses 19 to 21. See how many hukm we mentioned? Treating women in Islam, the prohibition of inheriting women by force, the prohibition of forcing women not to marry someone who's qualifying, right? Taking part of the mahr against the will of the wife, and treating them properly. So all these ahkam in those three ayahs. يا أيها الذين آمنوا, O you who believe, لا يحل لكم أن ترثوا النساء كرها. أن ترثوا النساء كرها, يعني with forcing them, not كرها. كرها يعني hate, كرها by force, يعني إكراه, يعني إكراه means coercion, like coercing someone. And this was يعني ترث النساء يعني taking the women themselves. You know, when a woman, her husband dies, the relatives take the woman as an inheritance, يعني. Yeah, I'm not talking about taking her money. لا ترث النساء كرها. So whenever their relative die, they take the woman. If they want to give her mahr, they give. If they don't want to give her mahr, by force, يعني she has to marry one of them. Or they marry her to someone and take the mahr themselves. So it becomes like a slavery, but not slavery. And she's free, a free woman, not slave technically, but they are treated. She's treated like a product, like property. And I take her for myself, or I give her to my brother or my cousin, or I marry her to someone and take the mahr, or I take her without giving her mahr. So she becomes part of the inheritance.
Nowadays, for instance, if somebody pass away, and she has children, a lot of family, they try to tell her to marry his brother. So this
by force, no, that's haram. But if she has to agree, woman cannot marry anyone by force.
Sometimes she agrees because she wanna keep her children.
Then that's her choice.
Okay.
That's her choice. She cannot say I had to do it. No, nobody forced you to.
But what
It was your decision, huh?
What if it's not visibly forced, but
Yeah, no, culture and all that. No,
like like we're not going to help support your children. Blah, blah, blah,
I know
blah.
she's forced to do it. It's haram on them.
So
But
that's
if she has the choice, yeah, that's where the community comes and stands. Community should prevent these things from happening by educating, by helping, by supporting, by giving her from zakah, by whatever it is. But don't allow these kind of traditions, jahl tradition, to continue. That's why people say for arranged marriage. They mix between arranged marriage and forced marriage, especially the youth here and the people here, American. I explain that every time I go somewhere. They said arranged marriage. I said, what's wrong with arranged marriage? They said, huh? Means, I said, yeah, my marriage was arranged marriage. So I said, you didn't want it, but I said, that's forced marriage. Forced marriage is like I didn't have a choice. But arranged marriage, my father, my mother found someone, and that father find me. They arranged the marriage. Then I approved it. I said, okay. And she said, okay. So the marriage was arranged. Those who goes to the website is not arranged. They haphazard كده meet and say, let's go get married. Everything have arrangement. Arrange means there is process. Someone helped me, someone helped her, brought us together. We drink some Starbucks, but it's arrangement. People arrange things, they arrange, in the masjid, men meet women. Some arrangement is wrong, some arrangement is right. Right? So arranged marriage is not a bad thing. Actually, I advise arranged marriage. It's safer, much safer. Arranged marriage means you are seeking the help of people to arrange for you someone matching, someone good. So more eyes, more minds, better for you, especially when you trust someone good. You say, I'm going to marry that girl. All right, everybody search and everybody see, and they give you the right mashura. And same thing about me. Oh, it's this and that's arranged. But forced marriage is what we don't agree on. You have to marry your cousin. Well, I don't want to marry him. No, you have to marry him, otherwise you're doomed, otherwise you're damned, otherwise da 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 da. Haram, taban. And if she agrees, she is coerced like this. And that's why Allah said, don't do it. But if it is done, it's a sin. Especially if the poor girl doesn't have any choice. Poor woman doesn't have any choice. So she is actually coerced into this. Allah Azza wa Jalla will compensate her in Jannah, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Like that woman came to Rasulullah, said, my father married me to his cousin without my approval. To his nephew without my approval. So he can raise the status of his nephew. You know, the father is well honorable person in Medina. And his daughter, her honor is from her father. Who's that daughter? The daughter of such and such. That's honor, right? His nephew is not like that. He does not have a name in the business, in the, you know, he's not like someone like her father, presentable in the community, he helps people and all that. Some people like that, you know, they are by themselves. He doesn't have a name. So the father married his daughter to his nephew, so he gets from that honor, you know. Who's that person? He is the husband of that girl who's the daughter of that guy. So that guy is his father-in-law. لِيَرْفَعَ بِهِ خَسِيسَتَهُ. She said, you know, my father married me to his nephew to raise the status of his nephew without my permission. Now this marriage is correct provided that the daughter approves it. And a father, without, his daughter is at home, and he comes to someone and said, زَوَّجْتُكَ ابْنَتِي, I married you my daughter, on the mahar and this and that, and there are two witnesses, and the guy said accept, marriage is done.
But
Pending, the daughter said okay. Then he goes home, by the way, my lovely daughter, I married you today. You know, what? To who? To that guy. Oh, okay. Marriage is done. No, not like that. Marriage is not done. You understand that? Yeah. Taban, this is a tradition nobody knows about. And I would not advise it in this current culture. You don't do that. You become like a abuser, woman, da-da-da, and then you are in CNN, and mashallah, you're going to be like deported.
so she get divorced for that?
Huh?
She get divorced for that?
What do you mean?
The lady she talked to.
Oh, yeah. So she went to the Prophet ﷺ, and then she said, and what you want to do? She said, I approve what my father did. I approve it. I just wanted everybody to know that they cannot make decision without us women. So that's why I came here. I came here, I would not break my father's word. See, that's actually an honorable girl. She said, that's fine. I'll marry my cousin. Especially my father made the word, I cannot break his word. Because that would be a big dishonor for the man that his daughter did. She's her right, though. And the Prophet was very willing to break her father's word. It's okay. You tell me what you want to do. If you say no, it's no. So she said, that's exactly what I came here for. I wanted everybody to know that it's me who decide. So her husband now knows that she was not forced into it. He has to appreciate that. Right? And her father has to know that you give a word, but you should have consulted with your daughter first. Right? Same thing happened with Sa'id ibn Musayyib, completely different case. Sa'id ibn Musayyib is one of the tabi'een. Sa'id ibn Musayyib ibn Hazan. His father is Musayyib ibn Hazan. Musayyib ibn Hazan is the Sahabi. His son is Sa'id ibn Musayyib, one of the great imams of the tabi'een. Well known, يعني. Someone huge. He's a student of Abu Huraira, يعني, right? It's big shot. And he had one daughter. And he had a very good student. Well, he was married and everything, but his wife died. So that student was absent for a couple of days. And Saeed missed him. He said, where is Kuthayr such and such, you know, that person. He told him, you know, his wife died and he's grieving and didn't come, whatever reason, yeah. So he waited for him. We said, bring him, you know, he waited for him. And when he came, he told him why. He said, you know, this is what happened. He said, you want to get married? He said, yeah. He said, how about my daughter? He was like shocked, taken aback. He said, of course, it's an honor. He said, okay, I marry you, my daughter. You accept? He said, I accept. And everybody was sitting there, witnesses. And khalas, the session finished and he left home. Right? He is saying that I thought that it was because of the majlis and all that, so it did not come to my head that the guy was serious. Yani, like, maybe, you know, he's giving me a promise and later on we're going to do the nikah properly. So he said, I went home, and then, he's going about his life, and before he sleeps, the door knocks. And then, he said, who? He said, Saeed. He said, every Saeed in Medina came in my head except Saeed. Every Saeed in town, Saeed this, Saeed that, who's Saeed, But I never thought that my Sheikh, Saeed ibn al-Musayyib, the Imam of the Muslimin, is coming to my humble house, I am Saeed. Saeed who? Then he said, I opened, and I just saw a woman covered, pushed inside, and the door closed. So he pushed his daughter inside. And he said, that's your wife. Salaam alaikum. And he left.
He's alive.
Oh, yes. And then he said, wow, it was serious then. Then, she sat there, and he's sitting in front of her, and he frozen. Does not know what to do. Then he jumps in the roof. He goes in the roof of his house. And he goes and calls all the neighbors. Oh, my neighbor, I just got married tonight. To the daughter of Saeed ibn Musayyib. Because he's afraid. In the morning, she goes out or something, a woman coming out from his house. People will think, what is this pious guy and a woman coming, out of his house? It's a problem, right? So his neighbors came to him to congratulate him, said, Wallah, you cannot touch her until we prepare her and do some party for you, So they did that. They gathered together, they prepared her well, dressed her, all these things, and they make some food and all that. And they, make some nice little party, singing for her and all this, and said, now you can, have husband and wife relation. And then they left, and then she, alhamdulillah, they consummated the marriage. So in the Fajr time, then he's leaving the house. She said, where are you going? She tells him, where are you going? He said, I'm going to learn from your father, Saeed. She said, sit here and I'll teach you what my father is going to teach you.
Private teacher.
Yeah, because it's sunnah that a man sits with his newlywed wife for like 7 days, 3 days or 7 days, to bond together and pray together and all of that in the beginning. So she told him, Ijlis a'allimuka ilm Saeed. And she is a scholar. So she told him, whatever my father will teach you, I'll give you. So he has both. So that tells you that a father can marry his daughter. I'm just giving you the two examples. And here the daughter did not say anything. So father told her, today I married you to my best student. Oh, okay, Dad. That's it. So she's going straight with it. But now, what? Who? This? That? Oh, mashallah.
that took her there. Nowadays, I will take my daughter.
Well, marriage is something very, very, very simple. But we make it very, very, very complicated. Right? And the divorce is supposed to be hard to do, but we make it very easy to do. You understand? So divorce has layer after layer after layer after layer before the separation happens. But marriage is one word. So getting into it is as easy. And getting out of it makes it a little bit hard. But we switched. We make the marriage mahr, this, that. They have to court, they have to date, they have to talk. They have 50,000, 100,000, and the drink, and this. So any youth said, why I should do this?
What you said last week, when you said that, the things that were supposed to be light, we take it heavy, and the things that were supposed to be heavy, we took it light.
Yes, that's why. Make the haram is already available. So once you make halal hard, what are the alternatives? Yeah. So there's a first rule: don't take the women themselves, or force them. Like sometimes also the women will inherit a lot from her husband, so they are doing that so she can give up what she inherited.
Say again.
Like a woman in Jahiliyyah used to be part of the inheritance, right? Now when they become Muslim, it's kind of like hard to do that. But the woman took from her husband some good inheritance, 1/8 or 1/4. Now his brothers and all of that want to take that. So they kind of force her to marry one of them or this or that, so she can say, you know what, I'll leave you my inheritance and let me be. So she kind of تفتدي نفسها, she kind of give that money so she can gain her freedom. Islam said you cannot do that either. You cannot do that either. ولا تعضلوهن لتذهبوا ببعض ما آتيتموهن. Now the next one, ولا تعضلوهن لتذهبوا ببعض ما آتيتموهن. يعني woman, her husband is abusing her. She does not want to live with him. That's what we talked about, right? She doesn't want to live with him. He is not divorcing her so she can marry someone else. And he is not giving her her rights. So Allah said you cannot do that. Why? Because they're pushing the wife so she can give up her rights. Wife wants to give up her rights by herself, that's fine. But the husband cannot push her like that. Like he is the one wrong and he's pushing because he knows if he divorces her, she's going to take everything. So he's pushing her so it comes from her. That's not right. But if the wife does not want the marriage and the husband does not have any fault, right? And he tell her, I don't want to divorce you. You want, you can walk out on your own and give up your right. There's nothing wrong in that. He's not pushing her here. He's saying, why should I divorce? Because if I pronounce the divorce, I lose this much. So I cannot lose you and lose all the finances as well. You know, it's not like a woman keeps bugging her husband to divorce her. Because she knows once he said the word of divorce, she maintain all the rights. Right? Because if the divorce comes from the man, right? Well, and the wife has nothing wrong. She prays and everything, but she just does not want to be in this relationship. But she wants the husband to carry that responsibility. See, it's vice versa. Allah says you cannot force the woman to give up her right and go out while you are at fault. And the woman cannot be at fault and push the husband to give her the divorce so she maintains all her right. Both are not acceptable. If a man wants to divorce his wife, he divorces her wife and give all her rights. As long as she's not at fault. He doesn't like her anymore. They have a problem, cannot communicate. She's causing issues. She's a good woman, but they can not. So if I'm the one who's deciding to get out, I carry all the responsibility. Right? I cannot break that family and make her lose everything either. And she cannot be the one at fault who does not want to be in there. Both are not at fault. He's doing fine. She's doing fine. Both praying, both, alhamdulillah, good people and everything. But she does not want this relationship for a reason or another. Justified or not justified. Then you walk. But you cannot push him that he has to say it so you can maintain everything. This is zulm too from both sides. And people come and say, oh, it's all about money. No, it's not all about money. But money is a big thing too. Money, Allah talk about it in Quran more than anything else. So you cannot lose everything and you cannot win everything. Right? So it has to be divided. The man is losing his wife, he's losing his family, cannot lose money too. And the woman is, breaking the family, cannot win everything either. So you have to carry the responsibility of things. I break it, I pay. It has to cost, because you are the one who is taking that structure apart. You are the one who's disassembling it. Justified or not justified, it's like your responsibility. And this is Quran. Now,
According to Sheikh, what's the ruling with the custody of the children? Underage, like what is considered underage or?
That's a big subject, but briefly, you have to see religiously and socially, psychologically, who are the kids dependent on. If the kids dependent on their mom, they have to stay with their mom. And the father has to spend on them. Absolutely, this is a case. Unless she gets married. If she gets married, even the child is one day, even not one day, but even if the child is 1 day old, If the man divorces his wife while she's pregnant, I'm just giving you an example. She's pregnant. When is her iddah? Once she delivers, right? He divorced her and the next day she delivers. Her iddah is over, 24 hours. Okay? So now, the following day, somebody proposed her and she got married. So the child is 1 day old. The father takes him. Right? And the woman came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and she said, my son is young and all that, and his father wants him. He said, أنت أحق بالولد ما لم تنكحي. He's your right because he's dependent on you, unless you get married. You get married, it bypasses everything. It is the right of the husband. So, and there, you don't see the hikmah, but somebody married someone who have a child knows. The wife will never be 100% for her husband, right? For the child, and that's not his child. يعني if I'm married to someone and this is my child, I'm more permissive, more forgiving. My child cries, I can go to the other room. You know, if mom gives attention to the child, it's my child, she's giving attention too, so it's not going far, يعني. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if my wife is busy, this is my child, she's taken care of. But if it's a child of someone else, it's a child of another guy, and now she's being distracted from me by him, it becomes an issue. You cannot instruct him like your own child. She will always have an issue with it. The father will keep jumping every day, you know, visitation, the ex is coming and all of that. So there are issues, yani. That's why Islam, as I said, Islam is hikmah. All of it is hikmah. Sometimes we don't see the bigger picture. We just see smaller picture. So custody goes based on that. When they come to a certain age, you know, some of them said that the custody of the son, custody of the daughter, you know, until she gets married or until the son gets, you know, big discussions, yeah, for the custody. But if you go to the Amja thing, you'll find out. But this, you know, choices and all of this kind of thing is, you know, beside the point. Yeah.
But it's not automatically to the father.
No, it's not like that. Unless the kids are not dependent on their mom, and he's spending the money, and he is like feeding them, he's educating them, and he's everything. And she wants to take them just for the child support, because that's what women do here. She wants to keep the children for the child support. It's not because she wants to raise the children or she loves the children so much, yani, she cannot live without them. It's for the money. Come on, yeah, let's be honest. You know, most of the case, I'm not saying everybody, right? And again, you know, you cannot live with your children. You could have stayed in the marriage and let it go. You want to leave the marriage, you're going to sacrifice a lot. It's, as I said, no clear-cut thing, you know. And the father has to have access to them, unless he's an abuser or is this or that, or cannot support them and stuff like this. No.
But for instance, for this guy, he's just 1 day, so he needs breastfeeding, he needs some special care, and the dad.
As I said, the mother is not necessarily the one who breastfeed. She had to know that. She doesn't get married the next day. Stay breastfeeding your child. After 2 years, get married, but the child has to go to his father.
And if his father cannot take care.
Who might decide that? Who decided father cannot take care? Father is responsible about taking care of his children. He marries another woman to take care of him. Now it is the duty of the stepmother to take care of the children of her husband, not the other way around. Yes, you marry a guy who have children, you are signing in to serve him and his children. Okay? But I sign up to marry a woman with her children, I don't have a duty to spend on her child. His father has the duty to spend on his child.
Okay.
Yeah, the woman wants to keep, all right. Then your other husband have a right upon you. But that's why I'm saying, like, people take things culturally without understanding the hikmah of Islam. You want to get married? Give the child to his dad. Well, I want to keep my child, then don't get married. Unless, you know, you marry someone who's okay with it. Right? But you have to be clear about that.
So the rule we have it back home, like if she get married, the baby will go to her mom.
If the husband agrees. If the husband agrees.
Sheikh,
Yes.
you know, in this in the land that we're living in, you know, the children at the age of 13, they get when the parents are divorced. So at the age of 13, they have the choice.
But that's not Islamic, yani.
Okay, is there
But Islam said okay. Yani if the husband and wife they agree on that, let's give the choice to the kids. That's fine.
doesn't matter the age?
No, the age of tamyiz, yani they know, they understand. You know, tamyiz means like, you know, 10 years and 9 years for the girl and like 11 years for the boy, something like that. That they can give them the choice, but has to be agreed upon. As I said, at the time of agreement, no problem, as long as it's not contradicting a principle of Islam. Yani if we know that in this specific case, custody is the right of the father, but the father come and said, you know what, you kids love you more and I'm busy, take them. Islam cannot say, no, you have to keep the children. I am giving up my right willingly. Or vice versa. You know what, the kids love you so much and I want to marry someone else, I don't want to cause him problem. Would you please, you know, take your right, and I'm fine with it. That's fine too. Even though custody is her right. It's a problem at the time of dispute. He says, this is my right. She says, we are in America. Okay? So this is the problem. That is when the issue becomes complicated. Huh?
What about adoption?
Adoption, if you mean taking care of someone by spending on them and all of that, this is actually something noble to do. But adoption, giving the name and treating like biological son is haram in Islam.
Also, like the stepfather cannot say that since the real father said take the son, then the
Cannot give him his name.
I'm gonna adopt.
No.
Like in now we go adoption, change name.
Haram. There is a surah for that, Surah Al-Ahzab. وما جعل أدعياءكم أبناءكم ذلكم قولكم بأفواهكم والله يقول الحق ويهدي السبيل. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took Zayd ibn Haritha, who was a slave, Khadija's slave, and she gave him gift to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he stayed as his slave. His parents found out that he's enslaved in Mecca and they came because tribes used to attack each other, and he was taken when he was a baby. So he ended up in Khadija's hand. Her slave. Here is him, 15, 16-year-old boy. She gave to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He keep him as his slave, goes around and all that. Then his parents come and they find that you are the most honorable person in Quraysh. This is our son. We are willing to pay whatever you want and free him and goes with us. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, he's free right now. He's free. Go with your parents. He said, no, I choose you. My father and my uncle and my tribe will never treat me like you treat me. Then at that moment, the father and the uncle did not say anything because their son is adult. He chose who? Rasulullah. So out of being grateful to such, a reaction, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, now I announce Zayd as my son. Adoption. So now everybody knows him as Zayd ibn Muhammad. He's known not Zayd ibn Haritha. His father Haritha standing there. He said Zayd ibn Muhammad. So now adoption is this. And everybody's happy. They left. And now he became what? His son. Yani Fatima is his sister. He is their mahram. Even when they were traveling to Medina, he was traveling with his sisters. Until went to Medina. Then Rasulullah, he wanted to get married. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to his cousin Zainab. Cousin of Rasulullah, Zainab. And she went there. And Zayd said, no, Zainab is Quraysh. She's your cousin. I cannot marry. He said, there's order. So he takes, and when he went to propose for Zainab, Zainab thought that Rasulullah is proposing for himself. She thought that he's coming to propose for himself. And he said, I'm asking for you to marry Zayd. She refused. She said, no. Freed slave, this and that, and no. Then Rasulullah said, it's an order. Then she accepted. But she gave him a hard time all the time. She's Qurashiyya, she's from Quraysh, she's the honor and all that. He gave him a hard time. Always looked down upon him. And he didn't like it. And he keeps coming to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, Ya Rasulullah, please, I want out. Rasulullah said, Amsik alayka zawjak, taqillah. Amsik alayka zawjak, taqillah. Allah said that in Surah Al-Ahzab. Fear Allah, keep your wife, keep your wife. And Rasulullah knows that Allah is cancelling the rule. He doesn't know how to go about it. The rule of adoption, right? Because now this is his son. If he divorced Zainab, Rasulullah cannot marry her. Because this is my son, my daughter-in-law. So she's my cousin, yes, but she married my son. But that's an adopted son. And all the rules, and if he dies, inherits everything, right? So Allah Azza wa Jal telling Rasulullah, he's going to divorce her and you are going to marry her. So Rasulullah doesn't know how to introduce this case, right? So anyways, it came to the point that Zayd divorced Zainab. Okay? Then Allah Azza wa Jal told him, you marry Zainab now. Right? You are going to marry her. After her iddah finished, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to her and said, Allah ordered me to marry you. She accepted. There was no witnesses, nothing. Right? This is Allah's marriage. That's why Zainab used to say, all of you, your wali marries you, but Allah was my wali. Because it came to the Quran. So Rasulullah said, فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِّنْهَا وَطَرًا. When Zayd finished with her, زَوَّجْنَاكَهَا. We married her to you. And this is only for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now everybody was like, oh, he's marrying his daughter-in-law, right? But the rule was, that was because of what? So tell everybody that the adopted son is not the rule of the biological son. And then Allah cancelled the adoption. He said no adoption. So he became back Zayd ibn Haritha again. It's not Zayd ibn Muhammad. So adoption, that is haram in Islam. But taking care of the child, raising him, but when he grows up, all the rules apply. hijab, no mahram, all of that, and that becomes the issue. Yeah, that's why we tell people, if you want a child, like, to adopt, but not adopt, yani not give the legal name and all that, but you live with, you have to know that once the girl or the boy grows up, they are non-mahram. So we say, if you want to do that, then breastfeed. So the mother breastfeeds, then everything applies. But you have to write the paper. You know, Amja also made the fatwa on that if in America you want to take care of a child, but you cannot do it except through legal, that's fine, but your intention is not giving them, and you have to write papers with that. That this is not my biological son. No, all the Islamic rules does not apply to him for a biological son. He is, taken care of, / adopted, and then, give the wasiyah and all of these things. But the younger, the better, so the mom can breastfeed. Now they have the hormones and things that she can have milk, and once she breastfeeds, she becomes his mother, suckling mother. Her husband becomes his father from Rida'. All the aunties and everything, and all the other children, if she have other children, become siblings, and you have no problem.
Then the inheritance would fall in with the
Regular inheritance. He or she does not have share in inheritance, but you can give them wasiyah.
So, for the legal, with all the paperwork and all the paperwork stuff, you can still do the adoption, but you need that attachment.
Yes.
And
Islamic attachment, yes. And he needs to know the child.
Needs to be raised knowing that they
Yes.
are not blood
Yeah,
related.
they are adopted.
And everybody in the family
Yes.
knows.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
they know?
Yes.
Right, we can't continue
No.
with the...
Like breastfeeding, everybody has to know.
Okay.
Like if a woman breastfeeds a child, she has to know. She has to make everybody knows that this is my son from Rida', because maybe later he meets with his sister and they don't know, and then what you're going to do then. All right? So we'll stop here inshallah for today, and we will continue, because this ayah is very important. It is very important about fathers not marrying their daughters to whoever they're qualified for, and men forcing women to take some part of their mahar and things like that. So it's very important, because I need to give few practical examples in this. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan.